set up this machine as an FTP server. I already prepared the machine by giving it a static IP address of 192.168.1.112, and I have created a folder called FTP where I will store the files that I want to access through the FTP. And I have two files in this folder, in this FTP folder. One is named ng tutorial and the other one is named target. The tutorial is a PDF file and the target is a text file. So in order for me to make this computer, or to use this computer as an FTP server, I have to download an FTP server application. So I will be using FileZilla. So I will do a search for FileZilla server download. I will select the first search result. Click on the download now from SourceForge and click again on download. So the file is downloading. It's almost complete. So I will open the folder that the file is stored in, the downloads folder, and this is the file that I just downloaded. So I will run the program to do the installation of the FileZilla FTP server. Click on run. Next, I will do the custom installation and deselect these. Accept and click on install now. I must agree, otherwise the installation will not continue. I will accept the defaults and click on next. Next again. Next. And install. Right, so the FTP server is installed and this is the administrator interface. So what I'm going to do is to create a user. And I'll call that user ITEC285. Click on OK. And I will add a shared folder for that user. I will use the same folder that I created earlier, which is the FTP server. Okay. And I will leave just the read access right now. I don't need to interfere with any of the other permissions. So I will leave it as a default and so okay, let me put a password for this user iTech. So I will put a password. And I will click on OK. So that's it, the FTP server is installed. So I will go to the other computer and try to link to the FTP server. Okay, here I am at the other computer and I'm going to create a folder to receive the FTP downloads. I'm going to name it such, FTP downloads of course. Okay, I'm going to open the command prompt. Okay, so what I want to do first is to change the directory to C, I think it was FTP downloads, and now I'm going to run the FTP server. I'm changing to this server because whenever you do the get command in FTP, it downloads to whichever folder was current. So let me start the FTP command or program, and I will link to the 192.168.1.112. That's the IP address that I created on the machine in which I installed the FileZilla FTP server on. So I am connected, as you could see, and username and I'm going to type in my secure password. Alright, so I'm logged on. If I do a directory listing, I will see what I'm supposed to see, and I am seeing the two files that I installed on the FTP server, the ng tutorial PDF and the target.txt. So let me download the alright, so before I do the download, I will open the FTP downloads folder. So you see right now it's empty. So I am going to download using the get command ng_tutorial.pdf. Alright, so as you can see, the file showed up in the folder that I set for it to download to, and I will do one more download just to fool around with it. So I'm going to get the target.txt. Alright, so the FTP server is successfully set up. Right now it's just working on the local network, so the next step would be to set it up where I could connect it over the internet. I've already logged into my router, and what I'm going to do is to set up the router so that I can receive FTP requests, so I could send FTP commands over the internet. So the host and the domain that I set up using the NoIP service, I'm going to, in order for me to be able to do that, I have to forward these requests to the appropriate computer. So I will click to Application and Gaming. So this allows me to forward the ports. So any requests that comes to my public IP address will be routed to the machine that could handle these requests. So in the case of FTP, I have to open two ports. That is port 20 with TCP and UDP, so I have both, and the IP address of the computer that it would be routed to would be the 192.168.1.112. I will enable that, and the other FTP port that I want routed is port 21, 192.168.1.112, and I will label that and save the changes. So whenever I start my FTP client through the internet, I could link to my FTP server that I am hosting, and it will forward the FTP request to this computer, so the FTP server that I set up earlier. I'm here logged into my NoIP account. NoIP is a dynamic DNS service, and I have already created an account with them, so I'm going to manage the account. Right, so I'll click on host/redirects, and as you can see, I already created, well, this free account only allows you to select one domain name. In this case it is ddns.net, and I can create up to 3 hosts in this domain. So I've created a host called SillyD, and I've assigned it the IP address of the public IP address of my internet connection. I can get to the public IP address by running what's my IP, and that will bring up your public IP address as it is here. So I've gotten this public IP address by running this what'smyip.org web app, and I have placed that in this host that I created in the domains that I am about and that I'm able to use through the noip.com website. So this will allow me to connect to my internet connection using this domain name. Okay, so now that everything is set up for the FTP server, I'm going to attempt to connect to it through the internet, through the domain name that I set up through NoIP DDNS service. So I'm going to open the command prompt, and I am going to change, well, I created this folder FTP2 at the root of drive C. So I'm going to change to that folder before I run the command. CD and now I'm going to run the FTP client. I'm going to open the domain that I created earlier. So I'm now connected to the server, so I'm going to log in using the account I created and the password. Okay, so I'm logged in now, so I'm now going to do a directory listing. So as you can see, the 2 files, the tutorial PDF and the target text are there. So I'm going to transfer the files, and they will transfer to the FTP2 directory, because that directory is the current directory that I had before I ran the FTP client command. So let me get the ng_tutorial.pdf. Okay, so the transfer is in progress. Well, this internet connection is a bit slow, so the transfer will take a little while. Okay, so that's it. The tutorial is transferred, and now I'll transfer the target.txt. Well, that's a small file, so that will transfer in no time. So there you have it. The connection via the internet to the FTP server is successful.